So tell us, David, how does it feel to be here at the Toronto After Dark Film Festival? And tell us what it means for your film to actually be screened here.
Well, it's very exciting to be here. I'm a native Torontonian, and I lived in Los Angeles for the last little while, but really, it's such an honor to be appearing at the Toronto Film Festival, and particularly for Wolves, which was shot in and around Toronto. So, you know, it's a local film, and really, really, really cool to be back here to screen it.
What actually inspired Wolves? Or how did that come about?
Well, I was approached by a producer friend of mine to do a werewolf film, and I was very hesitant to do so because they're very difficult to pull off. But I had mentioned the opportunity to a few friends, and they all said, I'd love to see a good werewolf movie. And I started to realize that there was, a great desire to see this particular creature done well. And then I started watching werewolf films to try to figure out, okay, well, what works and what doesn't, and is there a way to kind of subvert the genre or do something different with it, and including in the design of the creatures and in the execution of the story. So.
Now, a lot of people are probably very used to the Twilight Wolves, or right. So, did you have to come out with a different strategy to make the younger generation accustomed to the wolves you designed, or did you take a look at that at all? Or?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I examined the different ways that people apply this, create this creature, and there are three ways. There's a werewolf, where somebody turns into a wolf. There's the wolf man, which is sort of what we're doing, so a big human sort of creature. And then in the Twilight movies, I refer to it as insta-wolf, where they just go boink and they turn into a wolf, and so that doesn't count for me. As far as getting the audience used to it, I don't think so. I mean, it's a pretty clear concept. You turn into a creature, and there's so many genre films now where you see people turning into different things. I think people are pretty used to that. But what I did do was I tried to look back at movies like that I grew up with in the 80s, like Lost Boys or Near Dark, or things like that, and to really, or American Werewolf in London, and to really use prosthetic effects, to use effects that were in camera and felt real as opposed to CG. So in that sense, it's a little bit different, but I think people should be able to get it.
Now, this is your directorial debut, of course.
Correct.
So what's the biggest difference from, of course, to you being a director rather than a screenwriter, which you've done, of course, for X-Men and Watchmen?
Well, the biggest difference is the director doesn't tear your script to pieces and do horrible things to it. So, or at least if they do, it's my own horrible choices. And so, you get a lot more creative freedom. You get to tell the story the way you wanted to tell it, and people listen to you, which as a screenwriter is not always the case. But it was really, really a fun experience. And
can you comment on filming here in Toronto for Wolves, and was that sort of like in the back of your mind all the time to actually do this film in Toronto?
Yeah, well, so I'm a dual citizen. I'm a Canadian and American, so it always made the most sense to film within the Canadian system, and we actually scouted Romania, we literally scouted Transylvania, and scouted Australia for this film, and at one point we were discussing Louisiana, but I really wanted to come back here to do it. We did the first X-Men movie here, and to come back to your hometown working on the big movie is really fun, and if we had shot in Romania, I think my wife would have left me. So I was very excited to come back, and I also knew from the X-Men experience how good the crews were, and it's just really an A-level city for filming, and as well as the city where I grew up. So it was pretty great all the way around.
Now, tell us, because a lot of people, I guess, would want to know, how did you become involved with Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear. Metal Gear, I just auditioned for it. I mean, I started out as an actor when I was 9, and that's what I was doing when I was, I don't know, 27, 28, and I went in and auditioned for this game, and I got it, and I had no idea that it would be a sort of a 12-year, 10-game franchise for me. But I was glad it was. It was a really cool experience.
Nice. And that's the answer for that question. And thank you so much for doing this. And I hope Wolves does so great here at the Toronto After Dark Film Festival.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, and come talk to us for any upcoming films.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.